Hello, and welcome to the July Amiami recap. I am now less sick, my mic is on the correct setting this month, I hope, and I'm ready to look at some figures. I feel like a couple of months ago we opened with basically the same figure. Maybe it was the other characters and there was a different Tsuyu. Either way, I'm not really impressed with this line of figures. I think the bases just look really boring, and the quality of the figure themselves just looks extremely basic. I really hope that this isn't the final base. Are you kidding me? That has to be placeholder. There's no way it isn't, right? Please. Please. This is weird. It feels like, you know, every brand has its own, like, sub-brand now. Like, Karaani now has CA works. Like, who cares, dude? Your figures probably aren't even that good anyway. I'm really not that impressed with this Maple. I think especially her face looks really bad. I think most of that comes down to the mouth. It just doesn't look right. This whole figure is just screaming issues to me. Like, all of the weight of this figure is going to be over here. I guess the only thing I like is the front of this shield. Whether it ends up looking that clean is something someone's gonna find out. I'm led to believe that this is a character from Classroom of the Elite. Didn't that air like years ago? Anyway, I'd like to draw attention to this girl's hair color because it fades to like greeny blue at the tip. It kind of looks like she's dunked it in ink or something. Like it doesn't really look intentional. It's not that aesthetic. Either way, the other thing I'd like to point out is the hoodie, which I think has like an actually pretty cool sculpt. It seems like there's some cool shading in there, but I'm not entirely sure if that's exclusively because of the lighting of everything, or if there's actually like extra paintwork gone in there. But yeah, I assume there has to be a market for this figure for this to exist. I just don't know who it is. So this one is a pretty interesting figure, I think. It's by Luminous Box, who I have no idea who they are. And it seems like this figure started its life out as a garage kit, and now is an actual PVC figure. And all that considering, the price seems quite low for the amount of like detail and crazy weird things going on here. The description says that she has a transparent torso. There's definitely something going on there. I feel like with these pictures that they're showing, it's hard to get a good idea of like what this is actually going to look like. I don't dislike it. I just have a lot of questions. I feel like we've been seeing a fair few Apex figures recently. I remember them being pretty okay. I think this one really makes a name for itself and really stands out. I like the gradients on her hair and her dress. I think it really adds quite a bit to make you feel a bit more poppy. Is this a metal stand and the figure is actually hanging off it? Zooming into these details, it looks like they really haven't spared any expense to make this, you know, as detailed as it needs to be. Factoring this base into the price, I think it's absolutely fine where it's priced right now. And if you're a fan of this character or Hawkeye 3rd, then seems like a good pickup to me. This is a Vsinger? What is a Vsinger? But this immediately reminded me of the Mytheos Miku figure. Just everything from the base to the outfit to that thing that she's holding. I don't even know what that is. I have to say, this is pretty damn cool. The only issue I have with it is that it's a 1/8 scale. So I think she's probably going to end up being a little bit smaller than you'd probably like her to be. Like, I think it'd be almost perfect to display with the Xiaohua Miku. The only issue being it's 1/8 and not 1/7 like the Miku. But aside from that, I think Goodsmile Shanghai has really blown it out of the park with this and looks to be a really nice figure. Now, I know this is at least the second Kiss Shot figure in this sort of position, but it's following a different art style. So I think for that alone, this one might interest people more. It's by Belfine, who I don't necessarily trust that much. The figure seems fine enough, and I hope you wouldn't really have too many problems with it. The Gojo scales continue with this one by Furyu. like, yeah, man, I'm really gonna use my $250 figure to sit on my cup noodles. But anyway, I don't really like the price, but I do like the figure. I'm assuming a lot of the price comes down to having to mold and paint this little seat thing for him. But in case I haven't said it enough already in previous videos, it's so much better when they do any of these outfits in like this dark navy purpley color instead of just straight black, because it lets them add in shading and stuff so much better. The colors like actually work together instead of just being one flat shade of black. There's a world of difference between these higher quality ones and then the lower quality ones where they're like $100 or less. I think this is Fat Company's second Hokusal. Don't get me wrong, it looks like a nice figure. I like all the extra little details they've put in, but it's a bit underwhelming when you compare it to the other Fat Company one, and then I think the one by Goodsmile themselves. This one just doesn't really hold up. That being said, I'd like to see more figures with just like casual clothes like this. I like how this little book bag works, and I like the colors and everything. It's just, yeah, I think this will be easily overshadowed. Why does this Shiro look so familiar to me? This is by eStream, so of course you get the eStream price. I think the concept and what they've done here is really nice, but this little no game no life title placard thing under her just looks so tacky. It doesn't suit the style of the figure. I think if they wanted to put it here, they needed to make it look not as low effort as it does. Goodsmile released this 3 years ago for like a third of the price, which is why I have trouble understanding where eStream's coming from with this. It's fine, there's a little details, but for that money, I think I'll always have an issue with it. Oh my god, that is terrifying. No, what? Is that secreting, like, spider acid? Oh, it lights up. Oh, I hate it. Oh, okay, alright. She has legs. Well, that's really disturbing. If you're into spider girls, go ahead. Be my guest. Buy all of them. For what it is, it looks great. It's just, I hate it. A lot has happened since the Sylvanas figure has gone up for pre-order. I was initially going to rag on it for being the wrong color because she totally always wears purple and they made this blue for some reason. But now everything about Blizzard has come out, and even if for some reason you still like Sylvanas after everything that's happened, I wouldn't want to be supporting Blizzard, so a definite yikes from me. So I guess this is coming out because of the new Well Done With You game. I feel like the base is kind of awkward. Like, I absolutely get what they're going for. You know, I think it only works from that forced perspective from the front. I feel like fans of this game probably gonna like this. I've never played it, but seems alright. Seems like an okay pickup to me. Oh, this Rimuru is boring. It's by Union Creative. Seems to be the least creative Rimuru I've ever seen. And what's wrong with his face? Hello? His mouth looks terrible, like eyes don't seem to match up. That doesn't look right. I think Rimuru already has either really nice high-end figures or really fine-looking prize figures. Having something at this price looking like this isn't good enough. I think it's a hard sell. I think this might be one of the more exciting figures this month, which is Mytheos' Sleeping Beauty 1/8 scale, which comes in this nice little basket. The coloring and the sculpting here I think is just absolutely superb. Like, even the squirrels are super cute. I think this just looks really beautiful. I feel like this prototype looks basically flawless. I don't think there's a whole lot here I want to change. I just hope that it ends up looking this good. And I think they've got a mighty task ahead of them to produce something this intricate and detailed while maintaining the level of quality and care that needs to be put into this. What is this? Kind of weird. I appreciate that they're going for something interesting, but it really looks like she's falling over. The one thing needed to make this figure not look silly is to just angle her a little bit more straight. For something that looks like this at this price, I feel like Mytheos is kind of pushing the boundary of how low they can really go. I think it's a few steps away from being something really noteworthy. I think the Saikano popularity is a bit overboard. We've already got a full set of B styles, and now it seems like we're getting 1/4 scale swimsuit figures. But I imagine at least these will look and feel more like the characters than the B styles ever would, just because I trust Goodsmile and Aquamarine a lot more with handling characters properly. Who is this? Why do they look like they're a spaghetti person straight out of Code Geass or something? I like the cat at least. Just my quick assumption about this figure, it seems a bit overpriced, just judging by the coloring on this prototype. The hell is this? Does Bleach actually have this nun-looking lady? I thought everyone in Bleach was like a samurai. I don't have a whole lot to say about this, but at the very least the layering looks okay. There's like 3 layers of clothing going on here, so that's something. I love this. I don't know why I like Princess Connect stuff so much. I'm surprised to see that this one is by Mega House, just because I ever wouldn't pick them to sculpt a figure that looks like this out of the Lucrea like sub-brand or whatever they have going on. And yeah, this is fun. I really like her expression. That's such a funny expression. The attention to detail for even getting like the juice or whatever coming out of this cup, it just makes it really, really fun. The seam line around this ear seems a bit concerning, but it is what it is. I think it's pretty good and probably worth picking up if you're a fan of Carol. Makes me happy. This character looks really cool, except for a certain something, which is just comically large. I think it completely ruins the character design. Any semblance of seriousness is completely lost here. It's but I guess it is Union Creative shtick for picking characters like this. And yeah, I think this is quite expensive for what it is, which is in line with where Union Creative usually prices their stuff. I assume this is some Chinese figure by some Chinese manufacturer? Either way, that's pretty cool. I like what's going on with the base. I really like this gold pattern on top of this yellow part. It gives it so much extra flavor. Ooh, yeah, look at that. The detailing here is really cool. I do like how they've handled her face and hair and everything as well. And that's not to mention this cool scythe. Like, it's got everything. So yeah, I have no idea whether Reverse Studio is that reputable or not. So you'd probably be taking a gamble with this, but if it does end up looking like this prototype, I think you'll be onto a winner. I had to Google what the hell Honeystrap was. Apparently, she's a VTuber. I feel like half the new characters I see now are VTubers. I feel like it's kind of just playing as safe as it can get, really. There's not a whole lot going on. It's just cute, fun. Nothing egregiously wrong with it. Jeez, these Takara Tomy figures just, man, they really are awful. Like, what? This is the least cool looking Bakugo maybe ever. And ever will be. Ooh, hello. God, Girls Frontline. Wait, why is this called Dinner Dictator? I would like some context. They make some nice, classy looking figures. That's a cool looking dress, I have to say. I have to wonder how fluffy this coat is. This looks like it's actually real and fluffy, not plastic. Which then begs the question, like, how does this hair sit on like that properly? I have a lot of questions about this. I'm not too keen on this character's face, but I don't know if she just always looks like that. But I like what they're going for. I'm not entirely sure if the execution is going to be on point, but I appreciate that they're just going for it, because it could be really nice. Try your luck. Why does Furyu keep trying to make things noodle stoppers that don't need to be noodle stoppers? Is there anyone in the community who wants to do this with their figure at the expense of it possibly falling into the noodles or getting damaged from like the heat? I don't know if the figure looks all that great anyway. It has all the trappings of just a very plainly painted figure, which for something of this price you know, I'm definitely expecting a lot more. I don't know if it comes down to all the effort being added to make this little cushion. I don't know, maybe it's just not for me and I'm being too harsh on it, because I have absolutely no idea what this is from. Wow, this looks like Officer Jenny or something. I was initially going to call this very basic as well, but it seems like there's a lot of options for how you can set it up. There seems to be at least 2 arms. It looks like this fan is actually closable. You can take the hat on and off. I think it's kind of strange that it has so many different options, but I guess it's certainly welcomed. Quality-wise, to me, it seems very similar to Kotobukiya's Artifacts J sort of figures, which are maybe a little over half the price of this. Unless there's some Girls and Panzer fans who are like, oh yeah, this makes total sense, I'm gonna pay $1 billion for her because she's my waifu or something. And it's interesting to see, after just talking about that fluffy coat, this fan has this fluffy thing on it, which is something. Here we have another Honor of Kings figure from Mythos. I quite like the designs of this game, and so that's the only thing I have on order from Mythos at the moment. Not this one specifically, but another from the series. I think aside from the staff just being totally crazy looking, I really enjoy the colors. It's kind of a weird color scheme with like the aqua, the brown, and the orange mixed in with like this white and silver as well. It does work quite well. Overall, I think the main sticking point for me is that for this, as a 1/7 scale, this is a more than fair price, assuming that the quality holds up. If there's one area I'd improve on this, I think it's that some aspects are desperately missing some sort of shading or extra color. And you can see it like here on her shoe things. They're kind of a bit plain, but with the whole composition of everything, I feel like it's not something you're really going to be complaining about. I feel like we've been seeing these Necropyro figures for like forever at this point. I feel like at this point it's a race to see who can put them in a different outfit first. Which isn't to say they're bad or rushed or anything, it's just there's a lot of them. Usually I'm a Chocola fan, but I think between these two, Vanilla is cuter. My issue with Chocola is that she's got all of these things in her hair which look really stupid. And Vanilla's just blend in a lot better with her color scheme. But I feel like I'm not going to be talking anyone in and out of buying these. If you're the sort of person who's going to be buying these Necropyro figures anyway, you've probably made up your mind and already pre-ordered them. For what they are, they look totally fine. It's just that personally I like to see them in their default regular canon outfits instead of this. I was going to say, what the hell is this? Why is there so much stuff going on? And then I see it's an eStream figure and I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense, makes sense. This is crazy looking. Maybe not in a good way. It is very busy, like there's just a lot of red and orange there. It feels like they tried to add as much fire as possible. I think it looks best from the front. I don't necessarily hate it. It's not the first time that I think an eStream figure has had this issue. Whether it looks substantially better in real life with like proper depth and natural light, I don't know. It's just a bit too much. But maybe it's me just not knowing who or what this character is supposed to be. This may be a sudden ending to the video, but I have been recording for a while and I'm only about halfway through the month. So I'm thinking I'll split this into 2 halves, one for the first half, one for the second half of the month. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this part. Make sure you're subscribed and you have notifications turned on so you know about the second part when that comes up. And with that done, this has been the Ando Experience, and I'll catch ya in the next one. Bye.